Well, greetings to you all. I'm down my bottom shed today, still tidying up from the autumn. I don't know where the last 2 months have gone and what I've been doing, but everything is undercover. It just, I think I threw it in here thinking, well, if it's undercover, it's going to be good. Well, it is, but it's just, I'm looking around, it's like so much stuff to sort out. But anyway, I've got my hives, spare hives are all stacked up here. So at least they're all in, tidy, all empty. There's no frames in to be built out. Everything is good, but as you know, I went up last week. I just wanted to apologize for the sound quality of that last video. It was a great boost to me to go up and collect all that gear. I've got 1,000 sheets of wax. I've got 1,000 frames. Plus 600 sheets of wax I had left from last summer, because we got our wax really late in May, and whatever I had from the previous year did me just about. But it's kind of it just gives you that boost when you start getting your equipment together. And I like this. I'm just beginning to enjoy it now because everything's away. I absolutely detest the time between October and December, because the leaves are falling on the trees, it rains a lot, it's just mess and mud, and boy, have we had some rain this autumn. It's just been non-stop. It has been absolutely disgusting. I've been itching to get out to get my vaping done. I can't do that. It's been way too windy. I thought we were going to have a good break and a window in the weather this coming Wednesday, Thursday, just for Christmas Eve. And then Boxing Day, I would have been doing it, but I probably won't be doing it Christmas Day, but it doesn't really bother me if I do anyway. But the thing is, we still aren't going to have that calm weather. So I'm really getting a bit like cabin fever, because I want to get all my hives treated, and time's ticking away. I do not want to wait any longer, but there's nothing I can do. No matter how well you seal up your hives, when you get it really windy, there's always some leakage, and I just like to treat them when there's no leakage. So it's frustrating and worrying, but we move on. We've also had, as well as the rain and the gales, we've had a lot of warm temperatures. In the camera trap I set by my bees at a big apiary, which is about 10 minutes from the workshop, the camera trap was actually getting tripped by the bees, because there was periods when the sun would come out and the bees would all be out, which is so surprising for like December. We are usually around the sort of 6 to 8 degrees average in the day, and maybe nights, sometimes a frost, sometimes just cold 2 or 3s. But we've had literally minimum night temperatures 8s and 9s, and the day temperatures yesterday was up to 16 again, 15 the day before, I think, 14s the week before that. It's just far too warm. So what does that mean for us beekeepers? Well, it means that we have to be really careful of our nukes, because our nukes are still active. They are burning sugar like there's no tomorrow, because they are basically active, and they should be shut down. They should be in that nice tight cluster, but they're just not. But they're not coming back with fuel. They're going out, doing a little bit of a cleansing flight, maybe just seeing what's around, and coming back with a tiny bit of pollen from the mustard that's up the road, the field of mustard. But they're not really doing anything. They're just kind of wearing themselves out for no reason. They're not in that tight cluster, and it worries me. And I get like this every year, and I know they'll be fine, but we just have to be really sure of that feed level, especially the nukes. The hives, I've said before, never ever an issue. In all the years I've been doing it, never seen an issue. But it could be one year if we have a really bad autumn and no food in the hives, but they're all fed. But the nukes, you can feed them as much as you want, and sometimes they just don't get heavy. And I've heard people up and down the UK, up and down Europe, saying that they're exactly the same, that their nukes are just too light for the winter. We just need that cold weather, and I'm putting sugar blocks on mine this weekend, as well as obviously trying to start vaping if I can. That's what all these polystyrene blocks are, fortunately. These are the inks I use around my Mini Plus. I use a square like that, and it's straightforward. I think this is a about 5-6 centimetre with the middle cut out. This is a bit big, this one, but it doesn't matter as long as you've got the top sealed after. It just adds another compartment to your Mini Plus, and then they can come out the top of the Mini Plus and feed on the sugar or any protein. But obviously it's sugar this time of year, not protein. That's a little bit later, the protein. And I've done the same for my 6-frame nukes. Yep, another thing to pick up. This is what I use for my 6-frame nukes. I've cut a hole in the middle of this block of polystyrene. That sits right on top of the colony. And then I put a aluminium sheet on top of this, and then the existing lid back on. These are the lids we use. This is a brand new one. I managed to get hold of a few spare. That's the lids we use. So I'll show you the configuration. So we have our 6-frame nuke. On top of that goes straight on top of the box goes that. Then goes your aluminium, and then goes the roof like this. And what I do then is I put a couple of blocks between. So the reason why I have the aluminium is it helps reflect the heat back down, and it means if the bees come up, they're not going to be nervous to come up, because they've got 2 blocks on here that will virtually seal against the aluminium, and it stops the wind blowing that polystyrene off. As you can imagine, that's game for blowing away for miles. You know what I mean? The stuff. So you've got to put a couple of blocks on top, but it works really well. And the bees can come up and feed on your candy or your sugar blocks quite happily in there. And it's the way I use to feed my my nukes in the winter. The reason why I don't use the feeders that they supply is because I believe that the heat that comes off the cluster should be able to penetrate the food they're trying to eat, whether it's candy or sugar. If it's the sugar, it will absorb the moisture. But if you put it above the insulation, in other words, the feeders they make for the nukes I have, they make them out of the same material that insulates the nukes. So all you're doing is basically putting some food away from the colony. I like it to be on top of the colony. And if the bees want to migrate up, they can. They just consider it an extra extension of their reserves, and they've got it there if they need it. You don't get isolation starvation. You might have it really cold, but the bees can cluster on the feed you put on the top, and then they can get to it. And that's my whole crux, is you can save a colony that's really kind of not got a lot left, that wouldn't survive easily. You put it in the feeder, they won't touch it. They're just kind of marooned. They're down in the bottom of the box. The feed they put in is at the top. They don't even see it or can't even smell it. You know, so the chances of you saving them are slim. But obviously, I never want to get to that stage. They should be well fed before that. But that's the whole reason for giving them on top of the cluster. It's not rocket science. It's just looking at what the bees do and thinking, right, you know, you can use the feeders they provide. They work fine in the summer, but they do not work that well in the winter. You need a direct access between the cluster and the food. And what I do is this: you just literally put that on top, and they're in contact with it if they want to. If they don't want to come up, they've got plenty of food beneath. That's fine, you know. It just works for me, and you got to do what works for you. But that's how I do mine. So I'm going to be putting that sugar on. That's my next thing, to make sure that every colony that is lighter than I want. Obviously, I should be weighing, but I don't. But I know what it should be. When you pick up the nuke, if it feels light, you got to get something on there straight away. You know, you have to. And I'm finding a few like that. Just trying to get them all up to weight. Well, maintain their weight. You don't. There's not, the words up to weight now are gone. I am saying maintaining their weight. So that's all there is to do at the moment. There's nothing else I can do. I am visiting apiaries. I am checking everything's all right. We're getting a lot of wind as well. Checking no roofs have blown off. All that seems to be fine. I checked 2 yesterday. They were good, and the bees were flying. But it was encouraging to see, because I had a look under a couple of poly roofs with clear plastic covers, and there's some good clusters there. So I'm quietly confident that things are going to be a lot better this spring than they were this time last year. But there's still a long way to go. So we're the 23rd of December today. We've passed that milestone. We've passed that shortest day of the year, and now it's all on the up. But I know it's a long time to go. But I've got basically 12 weeks now to do all the things I need to do before it's full-on commitment to the bees. Because when we hit that end of March, it can be full-on for the foreseeable. So we've got a lot done at the workshop. As you know, we've dropped the end of the old barn. That's done, tidied and finished. My colleague Christian's been beavering away, because I I've had to kind of isolate a bit from him because of the kind of COVID restrictions. He's got on with the work there and I've been doing other things here, but I've had an absolute mountain of paperwork to get through as well, which I'm kind of just about there with. Excuse me. So I'm really pleased to get that done. It's all things to push forward, organisation. Now I'm able to claim back my VAT on my purchases, which makes a massive difference to me. So, for example, all the purchases I made last week, I can claim back. All my fuel for the year, all my expenses that are akin to my activity, I can now claim back. So I've been beavering away getting that all done. And I don't want to have to do that in May when we have to finally put our declaration de revenue in at the end of May. Usually is a deadline, and I'm usually trying to juggle colonies. I don't want to do that by then. I want to have it all organised by then. So I'd just like to wish you all a fantastic end of the year. I hope you have great fun no matter what you're doing with the current situation. Just be careful, be safe. I'd just like also to thank you for all your amazing support throughout the year. It's kind of grown these videos I've been doing, and now I'm nearly up to 14,000, I think 14,000 followers, which is just incredible. My Instagram as well, I'm up to nearly 10,000 on that. I just cannot believe it. I'm completely kind of bowled over and really humbled by all your nice comments. And at the end of the day, it's all about sharing whatever we've got. Everybody's view is worth listening to, worth thinking about, because we've all seen different things, and it's all about sharing what we're learning. So I just hope you guys realize that I'm not doing anything special. I'm just showing you what I do, and I've done it for a little bit of time now. I know a little bit about what I'm doing, but I certainly don't know it all. We've all got things we want to achieve. I've managed to achieve a lot of them this year, but it's just the start. Now I've got to move forward and polish it, start getting better quality bees, stronger colonies, less swarmy bees, better honey crops, and bees that are more resistant to varroa. That's my kind of goal for the next few months. So it's all out there. Whatever you're doing, enjoy it, and we'll get organised for next year, and I'll catch you in January. Take care. Bye for now.